If you gave me attention for the length of this video, I promise I will give you hours back. Hi, my name is Han. I went to Columbia University, and back in college, my friends were always so surprised how I was able to finish studying so early every single day. I always seemed to be going home for a nap, working for my part-time internship or my student organization, all while having so much free time and still get pretty good grades. That's because while others take breaks in their studying session or having on and off studying schedules, I always finish my work very quickly in one single, very focused studying session. Sometimes I study for 2 hours and sometimes I study for 4 hours. Of course, there are exceptions, but generally I always study in a long but productive session without any breaks. In this video, I'm going to share with you how I do that and how you can too. In a world full of distractions, I feel like having the ability to really focus is like a superpower. Research shows that students with longer attention spans perform way better on their stats. So before I dive in how I study for 4 hours without any breaks, I want to share a couple reasons why I love studying in one single session. The first reason is that if I can study 4 hours in a row, and very often I do this in the morning, I get to do whatever the hell I want after, say, if I start studying at 9, then after 1 p.m., I have all the free time. I get to hang out with friends, exercise, focus on my part-time internship job or student organization, or even better, just chilling at home, watch K-dramas or like scrolling on my phone. And it's really motivating for me to get my study done first thing in the morning because I have fun plans made. The second reason is that if you're struggling with phone addiction or you feel like social media is taking over your life, you probably have a really toxic relationship with your phone. I've been there so many times. I was in this cycle of scrolling on my phone, procrastinating, then feeling guilty and anxious, then using scrolling as a coping mechanism. So instead of fighting with your phone and not allowing yourself to use it at all, trying to cut down your screen time from 8 hours to 2 hours, tell yourself if you can study for 4 hours and get everything done for the day, then you get to use your phone or do whatever you want. Starting at 1 p.m., guilt-free, because you already finished everything you needed to do. The third reason is research shows that people can only do maximum of 4 hours of deep work every day. So I know I can be very productive and very focused for those 4 hours, and because I have a deadline, I actually focused on the really important tasks. And I don't want to study for more than 4 hours either, because I know I won't be as productive. It doesn't make sense to sit at the desk for longer hours and just not getting as much done. The last one is that some exams actually takes 4 hours or even longer. Like in US, the bar exam, the GRE exam, or the medical licensing exam. I'm not saying I take any of those, but back then I figured if I can focus for 4 hours in my studying session every single day, I won't be scared of, or it won't be hard for me to take any of those 4 hours long exams. Now we understand all the benefits of studying in focused long hour session. I'm going to share with you how exactly I can stay very focused for 4 hours without any breaks. Number 1, recharge your brain before studying. The theory of limited cognitive resources means that our mind has a finite pool of attentional resources. Basically, it means if we keep using our mind for different tasks during the day without recharging it, it will eventually run out of cognitive resources, or as I like to call it, brain juice. Rest is a way to recharge your brain juice. So for me, I like that the first thing I do in the morning is to study. Our mind is the freshest and at the optimal power to be productive and focus. So after you wake up, try not to touch your phone because it will destroy that optimal state. And I know it's not always possible to study first thing after we wake up. So those times I always try to create a break between my phone or like other mentally draining tasks and studying, like going for a walk or taking a nap, so I can recharge my brain and then immediately I will go to study. And the second one is have a goal and plan before the studying session. The key to a very focused studying session is knowing exactly what to do. If you sit down to study with a plan, all you have to do is just to execute. But if you don't have a plan and you're trying to figure it out as you go, that itself is a mentally draining task and it will cost your brain juice. It's like shopping for a huge meal without a shopping list. So make a to-do list for your 4 hours or 3 hours studying session. 3, get to a different location. So I always try to leave my room to study because I just have the hardest times to study in where I sleep and where I eat. So either I go to a coffee shop or I go to libraries or just like a studying room. The sunk cost fallacy makes me feel like, oh, I like spend all that time and effort, walked all across the campus to get to the library. I can't leave without getting anything done. Also, a different environment will kind of refresh your brain a little bit, especially if you study in a spot that you usually eat or scroll on your phone. Your body will remember that and always try to have the habit of get distracted. In college, I basically only use my iPad to study. It's just way easier to keep everything organized. Plus, with the iPad, I don't have to carry books or like keep buying new pens or pencils. The only downside I would say using the iPad is sometimes I miss writing on paper, and the Apple Pencil is not as comfortable as like the real pens or pencils. That's why I was so excited to discover the sponsor of this video, Paperlike. Paperlike is this amazing screen protectors that just makes your iPad feels like a real paper. So when I write on it, I get the satisfying feeling back, and I get the best of both worlds, digital papers that feels like real paper. Like with Paperlike, writing on my iPad is just so much more comfortable, especially for like really long studying sessions. And sometimes my hands get sore from writing so much. So in their note taker collection, they actually have this pencil grip that just make holding the Apple Pencil so much more ergonomic and comfortable. The collection also include a cleaning kit, which just makes cleaning your iPad so much more convenient. I definitely think Paperlike is a really great addition to my current workflow and just make me studying for longer hours so much more comfortable and just help me be more productive. So I highly recommend to check out Paperlike if you also use iPad. The link is in my description, and thank you so much Paperlike for sponsoring this video. Now back to tips on how to be more focused during studying sessions. The first one is to have a sticky note so you can write up everything that come up in your mind. Do you know that when people get interrupted at a work task, it takes them 25 minutes to go back to their original work? Sometimes those interruptions are external, like a notification, phone call, or whatever. But more often, they are internal, like a question, memory, or important task just like pop up in your head. So what I do is whenever I have something come up in my mind, I will just write it down and tell myself to figure it out later. Otherwise, it either distracts me from what I'm working on, or it takes up brain space, which makes me anxious. Again, just remind yourself that after you finish your studying session, you have the whole day to deal with whatever the thing you need to deal with. The second one is separate different kinds of tasks. So when you're at your planning stage, separate the task that has randomness in it and the tasks that don't have any randomness in it. For example, when I used to write essays, I'd get distracted so easily because I'd always think about something I read once, or like, oh, I should look up that research paper, or like, oh, I need a quote from another research paper, or like, I should Google this fact. So I'd stop in the middle of writing to Google those things, and usually one thing led to another. Like after 30 minutes, I didn't get any writing done, and I kind of forgot what I was originally looking for. So instead, now I separate my time into research hours and writing hours. During research hours, there are lots of randomness in it. I don't know what to expect. I'm just kind of like Googling and reading and kind of let my creative brain cells to spark. But I do have a deadline, so once the research hours is finished, I will switch to writing hours. I only focus on writing. I'll turn off the Wi-Fi. If I need anything, I will mark it down and deal with it later. Similarly, if you're like learning something from YouTube, instead of like go to YouTube, learn it, and then do your homework, separate those. So you will be very focused in both of those hours instead of switching back and forth. Put your phone away or turn off notifications and Wi-Fi. This is pretty straightforward, but it's just so important. It's basically the key of everything, which is eliminate distractions. It's funny that back in college, sometimes I will leave my phone in my dorm and I will go to library to study. When my friends trying to reach me, I will just email them and say, hey, like I am studying in the library. Also, before study, if you want, you can tell people that you keep very close contact with. Just text them and say, hey, I'm going to study for a couple hours. I'm not going to see my phone. I will contact you later. That way you won't feel as anxious anxious about missing any notifications. The last one is time chunking. Progress is the best motivation. So if you think about studying for 4 hours is too long, just think about maybe, oh, I need to study 1 hour at a time. I hope this video is helpful. Definitely go check out Paperlight. Please drop a like or click the subscribe button. Your likes is my best motivation to keep posting more videos. I hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you next time. Bye bye.